Another thing, I just before we leave, I think you should do this. For my safety and security and for the good of our nation, you should do it anyway, regardless, even if it costs 10 times more, but it actually costs you just a tiny fraction. If you went to paper ballots and you're voting, and I would hope that every Republican would, so it costs exactly 8% of what the machines cost. These machines, they got something going. They get business. It's amazing. So paper ballots, and paper is very sophisticated today. Paper, it's called watermark. It's impossible to copy, impossible to cheat. It's actually hard to believe that a piece of paper is highly sophisticated, but it's watermark, and it's it's amazing actually when you see it. You can't cheat. But if you went to paper ballots and same-day voting, and if you went to voter ID, and also one other thing, you want a proof of citizenship. Those four things: proof of citizenship, voter ID, paper ballots, one-day voting.
Look at this photo. The Oval Office, once the sanctum of democracy, now looks like the lobby of hell with better lighting. A man has collapsed on the carpet and Donald Trump is just standing there, irritated, like someone interrupted his show by having the nerve to faint without permission. The aides are scrambling, the cameras are flashing, and he's just bored, annoyed that human suffering dared to upstage him. This is who he is. He doesn't give a fuck about you. He was court-ordered to feed starving children, 42 million Americans, 16 million of them kids. He said no. Then he made sure grocery stores couldn't give discounts to people using food assistance. He'd rather punish the hungry than admit defeat. This is who he is. He doesn't give a fuck about you. He ordered pallets of food, real food, edible food, relief shipments stamped with the U.S. flag burned instead of delivered, turned bread into ash just to prove that mercy offends him. This is who he is. He doesn't give a fuck about you. He threw a great Gatsby party at his private golf club while children's plates sat empty. Top shelf champagne. It wasn't a celebration, it was an autopsy with appetizers, because that's who he is. A man who mistakes other people's hunger for proof that he's full. He's the kind of person who would be hosting a gala on the Titanic's lifeboats while women and children clawed to climb aboard. He would sell the seats or refuse them altogether. This is who he is. He doesn't give a fuck about you. He mocked prisoners of war. He called soldiers suckers and losers. He told a grieving widow her husband knew what he had signed up for. He bragged about grabbing women by the pussy. He called immigrants poison. He said he'd be a dictator on day one. And guess what? He sure as shit is acting like it, because this is who he is. He doesn't give a fuck about you. He doesn't care if you voted for him or not. He doesn't care if you cheered for him, worshipped him, wore his hat, or ruined your family over him. He doesn't give a shit about any of you. All he wants is your suffering, because your pain makes him feel powerful. This is who he is. He doesn't give a fuck about you. He watched Americans die during the pandemic and shrugged. It is what it is. Every death was an inconvenience. Every funeral, a distraction from his own reflection, because this is who he is. He doesn't give a fuck about you. And now we all live inside his cruelty. We scroll past the videos, masked agents dragging teachers out of classrooms, mothers begging for formula, families choosing between groceries and rent, and he doesn't blink. He burns food instead of feeding people. He cuts benefits, spikes tariffs, and laughs while the rest of us pay the bill. This is who he is. He doesn't give a fuck about you. That photo doesn't show America collapsing behind him. It shows Donald Trump's view of America beneath him, suffering at his feet, something to be ignored until it stops moving. To him, that's the natural order, the powerful standing, everyone else crawling. The man on the floor isn't the exception, he's the rule. This is who Donald Trump is, and he doesn't give a fuck about you. He doesn't give a fuck about any of you.
People can sleep again because they can breathe as when they go to bed.
Donald Trump was literally sleeping while Dr. Oz was talking about sleeping and dementia. Watch Sleepy Don again.
Hello, my name is Manny. I just wanted to tell you guys and say that I really hope you guys do side with us and you guys really do hear what we're saying for you guys, because all of us here are actually trying to fight for what's right and fight for our rights. And I just want to tell you guys that I'm scared for my parents to walk out there to walk out their house because I might not be able to say goodbye to them if they go to work. I might not ever be able to say bye or see them again if you guys don't side with us. And I'm scared because of it, because they fought so hard to come here and choose a life for their kids. And I really hope you guys do hear what everyone in this room has been saying, and I hope you guys do side with us, because we are fighting for our rights. And we are getting treated like animals because people judge us by the color of our skin and the way that we talk. And we have a president that acts like a child and doesn't side with us because of the way he thinks about us. And we have a police department that doesn't do anything about us, and that we are here fighting more than they are. So I hope that you guys actually do hear what everyone in this center is hearing or talking about, so you guys can side with us and listen to what everyone's saying, because everyone is scared. I'm scared that I'm never going to be able to see all my friends again. I'm scared that their parents are going to be gone one day. I'm scared that all of us are going to have to fend for ourselves. I'm scared that one day at school that I'm going to get held by people that I don't know, people that are covered, people that I can't identify because they wear masks and they don't properly ID themselves. I'm scared that everyone that I love I'm not going to be able to see them again, because even though that they're U.S. citizens, they don't care about us. They treat us like dogs. They treat us like animals. No one here cares about us because of the color of our skin. So I'm asking you guys, every single one of you guys that are sitting up here, to actually hear us and do something about it, because I'm tired of it. I'm tired of telling my mom and dad every day after school that, have you seen the new video of ICE pulling someone over because of the color of their skin? I'm tired of everything. And I hope you guys really do something about it, because I really do want something to change, because I should not live like this as a 16-year-old. I shouldn't be scared. I should be focusing on school, and I can't even focus on school.
Yeah, so Trump is not building a ballroom. And I feel like I've known this in my soul, but now I feel like I have irrefutable proof, thanks to Andrew Kerr, an architect who posted on Facebook a few days ago and blew this case wide open. And he, by the way, has over 20 years of experience working on federal projects, and he walked through in his Facebook post step by step why this does not make any sense, this ballroom. I mean, for one, he just kind of did the math. $300 million at 90,000 square feet would be about $3,333 per square foot. He said that even luxury federal construction doesn't usually approach $1,000 per square foot. He also mentioned the geometry of these renderings being nearly impossible, because the renderings are showing a building that would need a 380 by 235 foot footprint, but the interior views show maybe 200 by 100 feet. And that's only 20,000 square feet, so that can't exist in the same building. Not to mention that the construction drawings, he said, look like they were thrown together in about a week, and I think that that's pretty generous, considering I think that they were probably thrown together by Grok within, I don't know, a couple of minutes. Probably by Big Balls or whoever's still wandering around the White House from Doge. So the million-dollar question then becomes, well, then what is he building? And the answer, I think, is that he's building an underground data center. Hear me out. Think about where they're building, because it's not random. It's the East Wing, and that's where the PEOC bunker is. And just think about the significance of that, because that is where the tunnel systems are that connect the White House to the Treasury to the other federal buildings. It's where all of the secure communications infrastructure lives. I mean, that's prime real estate, just underground. Honestly, this kind of reminds me of the Oracle data centers that Larry Ellison built underground in Jerusalem. You know, the ones that were 9 stories deep, 160 feet below the ground, 460,000 square feet. And guess how much those cost? $319 million per bunker. Yeah, and the White House is already at $300 million for this ballroom, and it's only climbing. Fiscally, it feels like a more apt comparison, I feel like. Even outside of the architecture anomalies, the fact that this is privately funded should have been our first red flag. I mean, this is Donald Trump we're talking about, baby. I mean, the man who has absolutely no problem spending taxpayer money on stuff that just benefits him. This is the same guy who spent over $3.9 billion in taxpayer money just to make over Air Force One. Didn't he also make Secret Service pay to stay at Mar-a-Lago? Like he charged the room bill to them? Just ridiculous. So when he suddenly won't spend government money on this means this isn't actually serving him. This means that this is serving someone else specifically. Look at the donor list. You've got defense contractors like Lockheed Martin and Booz Allen Hamilton, and you've got tech giants like Amazon, Apple, Google, Meta, Microsoft, Palantir. You've got crypto companies like Coinbase, Ripple, and Tether, and then telecoms like T-Mobile and Comcast. These aren't people who are funding a party space. These are companies who have very specific interests in government infrastructure, government data, and government operations. Don't get it twisted. They are funding infrastructure that very directly serves them. Also, think about Larry Ellison's vision, the one that he spoke about in the keynote the other day that I made a video on, the part where he said that he wants to automate the government. I mean, a lot of these tech bros have been talking about automating the government. And if you want to automate federal operations or create a single digital platform for the government, then that means you need a supremely secure physical home for that system. And by placing it directly under the White House, you eliminate latency problems and you ensure that the President of the United States has direct physical control over the system's core. Because remember, it's about centralizing control and securing the brain of the government. I know it sounds very dystopian, and in many ways it's because it is. But these are very real things that are happening around the world. And the companies that are funding this, well, they're buying access. They want their systems integrated to how the government operates. And that's what $300 million will get you, I guess.
And I will tell you right now, as God is my witness, if we lose the midterms and we lose 2028, some in this room are going to prison, myself included.
Mississippi, yes, Mississippi, Democrats flipped 3 state legislative seats, breaking Republican supermajority in the state. In Georgia, Democrats flipped 2 statewide seats on Georgia's influential Public Service Commission. Basically, everywhere you look across the country, Democrats won last night. Even in hyper local races, Democrats flipped Republican-controlled seats at the city and county level in Pennsylvania and Connecticut and New York. Democrats even had the added satisfaction of beating J.D. Vance's half-brother in the race for mayor of Cincinnati, and they beat him by a lot. So, yeah, it was one of the best nights Democrats have had in a very, very long time. Which kind of begs the question. You're a member of Donald Trump's Republican Party. How do you spin what everyone knows was an absolute thumping of your party? Well, they took different approaches. Little Mike Johnson went with the denial approach.
There's no surprises. What happened last night was blue states and blue cities voted blue. We all saw that coming. And no one should read too much into last night's election results. Off-year elections are not indicative of what's to come. I don't think the loss last night was any reflection about Republicans at all.
Okay. I mean, Johnson says that this was just blue states voting blue. Never mind the fact that Democrats won in the Republican-controlled state of Virginia, or that these victories stretch deep into red states and small towns pretty much everywhere. So denial is certainly one way to cope with such a devastating loss, I guess.
You want to see the most gall you have maybe ever seen in your life? This guy literally takes the cake.
In these elections, maybe after tomorrow, they'll come to their common senses again and do the right thing. We certainly pray that is true. And Republicans will be on the job every single day, serving our constituents, helping guide them through the chaos that the Democrat shutdown has created, and praying that they do the right thing and stop making the American people suffer because of this nonsense. Thank you.
Republicans will be there. We will be at work every step of the way, helping our constituents. I'm sorry. House Republicans have not been at work in 6 weeks, not since September 19th. And before that, they were barely in session either. They've literally worked 20 days out of this entire last session. And what have they done? They've passed one bill, which took a whole bunch of money from working class Americans and poor people and gave it to rich people. That's all they've done. So the idea that they would come back to work and help anybody is laughable. But that's not all. He goes on. The other part of it, I pray that we will be able to stop the suffering inflicted on Americans. I'm sorry, which suffering was that? Was that the suffering of a president capriciously, unnecessarily, and contrary to court orders refusing to give people nutritional assistance so their children could eat? Is it the suffering of the 24 million Americans who are finding out right now that they are likely not going to be able to afford health insurance after January 1st? Is it the suffering of the Epstein victims who are literally sending you letters begging you to swear in Adelita Grihova so that she can finally take her seat and finally these files can start to be released? Is it the suffering of the federal workers that Donald Trump has fired with Doge? Is it the suffering of immigrants in our Latino community who are being literally targeted and tortured on the streets? Pregnant women, children, elderly, and the suffering of the communities who love them? Or maybe he's talking about the suffering of all the people with cancer and other chronic illnesses who had hoped that a cure would be discovered but now do not because they have killed all scientific research. Whatever the suffering is, the one thing we can be guaranteed of is that Republicans, especially under this man and Donald Trump, will never solve it. By the way, if this is what hard at work looks like, Jesus, I want that job too. Sign me up. Actually, there's not enough money in this world to make me into something like that, because this is just gaslighting like I have never seen in my life. Congratulations, Mike Johnson. You finally excel at something.
Listen up. I'm going to say this slow, and I'm going to break it down so simple that everyone can understand it, because what I'm about to say is the most important thing you're going to hear today. As of yesterday, we entered the longest government shutdown in American history, and that is on purpose. 13 days ago on my YouTube channel, I put a video up where I said this. But they're supposed to go on holiday break November 20th. And I think Mike Johnson is trying to keep it closed through the 20th, so then he could just be closed all the way through the break and that not be considered closure. Keep in mind, I said that 13 days ago. Watch what I'm about to show you. Congress is controlled by Republicans. And the way our government's set up, the majority party pretty much has all the power. Well, Republicans in Congress do whatever Trump tells them to do. That is not me just talking because I don't like Republicans. They've proven that they will do whatever Trump tells them to do. Trump has even made a joke that he's the Speaker of the House because that weasel Mike Johnson does whatever Daddy Trump tells him to do. And as we all know, the Supreme Court does whatever Trump wants. They've proven that time and again. This is the most corrupt Supreme Court in American history. And when it comes to the executive branch, everybody does what the president says. In fact, they sit around the table and they say, oh, you're such an amazing leader and it's all thanks to you, like North Korean style bullshit. So we have three separate branches of government all doing what one man says to do. They are all at the behest of one man. And this isn't conjecture. This is reality. It's actually happening in front of our faces. And to put a cherry on top of everything, that one man has created a private army that does whatever he wants. ICE, a highly funded private army that answers to no one. Even when congressional members show up to ICE detention facilities to conduct oversight, they are turned away.
Congresswoman Yasemin Ansari, I represent Arizona's 3rd District.
What's the purpose of the visit?
Well, it's an oversight visit as a member of Congress, but specifically I'd like to see my constituent Arbella Marquez. She's inside at Eloy right now.
This private army that Trump has created, they act autonomously. They do whatever they want. They don't follow any rules of law enforcement. They don't identify themselves. They got themselves masked, and they do whatever Trump says, and no one can check them. So we have a guy who controls all three branches of government, has a private army, and now he's shut the government down, and he's comfortable keeping it there. And in fact, let me just put some sprinkles here. His attack on SNAP benefits, taking away food benefits, and raising healthcare premiums is all by design. It's designed to strain society, to start making people helpless. So he's taken over all three branches of government, created his own private army, and now he's starting to strain society. Prices are going up, healthcare premiums are going up, food is becoming less accessible. You better pay attention. This guy is already an authoritarian dictator, and this isn't just lip service. Do you think authoritarians in the past became that way overnight? No, it's a sliding scale of progression, and we are in a very late stage of it. He already controls all three branches of government, and the government is actively shut down while he does whatever he wants, passes whatever he wants. And oh, by the way, just to put an exclamation point on this, he's only passed one piece of legislation since being president. One. It's the least amount in American history. And that's because he doesn't care about anything else besides being a dictator. And that big, ugly bill was his pathway to make that possible. You better start fucking paying attention. This is not a joke. This is not hyperbole. This is real life.
This is what happens if the government stays closed. November 10th to 16th, the TSA will collapse in on itself. Going into the Thanksgiving weekend, we will see massive cancellations of flights, and security will have multi-hour long lines. November 17th to December 1st, SNAP will come to an end. Government contractors will begin layoffs. Workers will dip into savings and retirement accounts. Passports and visas will no longer be issued. IRS delays tax season. The National Science Science Foundation shuts down our Antarctic research station. December 2nd through the 15th, the recession begins. Unemployment begins to run out in multiple states. The U.S.'s credit rating is downgraded. Holiday retail sales plummet. GDP drops sharply into the negative. The stock market finally catches up to the reality of the shutdown and plummets. Without USDA loans, farms begin to fail and die. Defense contractors, making up a substantial portion of our economy, issue mass layoffs just before Christmas. December 16th to January 1st, the FBI, DEA, and ATF will shelve the majority of investigations, likely ending years-long probes. Prison guards, Border Patrol, and the Secret Service, now unpaid for 3 months, will walk off the job. Courts will be non-functional. January, America defaults on its debt. Unemployment reaches modern-era record highs. Airline disasters are inevitable. Military pay has run out. Military equipment begins to fail without basic maintenance. Violent offenders who could not receive speedy trials are released. With a hungry populace, massive unemployment, a recession in full swing, limited police and military, and no working court system, crime is now rampant. February onward, the housing market collapses. Hundreds of billions in GDP are lost. With no functioning federal services, it's likely groups of states will form coalitions to fund their own services. Federal workers who have decades of training and experience will never return to their work. NASA engineers, NIH and CDC doctors, administrators, park rangers, military service men and women, all gone. America as a nation barely exists. And all of this because Donnie doesn't want you to see a doctor. And of course because he's in the fucking Epstein files and is scared to fucking death to open the government back up.
It's time for the Trucker John Livestream. Gonna be a good time. Oh yeah. The Trucker John Livestream. Come along for a good time. It's a good time, good time, good time, good time. Trucker John Livestream. It's gonna be a good time. Gonna be the time of your life. Gonna talk some shit. Hush your mouth. Gonna talk a little smack. Gonna talk whatever comes of it. You're gonna always wanna come back. Well, yeah, it's the Trucker John Livestream. He's the biggest, baddest, funniest mother you've ever seen. Watch your mouth, he's headed south. Not even sure what that means, but if it's one thing I know, the Trucker John Livestream is the best thing you've ever seen.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, the moment you've been waiting for, Trucker John.